Very important, I forgot to tell you.
What?
Don't cross the streams.
Why?
It would be bad.
I'm fuzzy on the whole good-bad thing. What do you mean bad?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Guys, it's HarleyWood. Today we're going to take a look at a monster. And I know I've used that title in some of my previous videos, but this time it's true. Now before I bring it in here and I show it to you right here, I know you already saw it in the thumbnail, but I'm not sure that does it justice. We are also going to take this out back and I'm going to do some nighttime comparison footage. And we're going to compare it to two of the biggest lights that I own. First, the Olight X9R Marauder and the Phoenix LR80R. And I know what you're saying. You're like, man, this thing is huge, right? Like, how much could it compare to this? About that much. I hurt my shoulder a few weeks ago, and this is painful just to hold. Look at the size. It doesn't even fit in the viewport here. That's the Olight X9R Marauder, the biggest light they make. Look at this. Look at the reflector on this thing. I mean, compared to my hand. And I'm a pretty big dude. Look at this. Like, I don't even know what to say. I started out on this channel reviewing little flashlights like this, and look at where we're at. Goodness gracious. And this was actually sent to me by one of you guys, a longtime viewer, Joseph. He is a huge flashlight enthusiast. He's part of a couple different forums, but Joseph actually won one of my previous giveaways. He's been a longtime viewer of the channel, and he reached out and said, would you be interested in reviewing this? And I'm like, dude, how can I turn that down? Now this guy uses 8 18650 batteries in 2 of these docks, right? And there is a coupler in there. So you can see these battery docks here. And if I'm being completely honest, when I first received this from Joseph, the batteries had fallen out in the case. I'll show you the case here in a little bit. And I was talking to my wife here in the shop. I wasn't paying attention. I put the battery back in backwards, and it actually fried some of the connectors in here. They started glowing red, and it literally melted them. So I had to order him another one and get it shipped all the way from overseas. And this carry handle here, you'll notice, has a fan in it. So it actually has a cooling fan that blows air down through the ribs right here and helps to cool this light. The fan alone uses a 21700 battery. The fan, just the fan, uses a 21700, which is what most of your high-powered flashlights use. And the carry handle is removable. You see there's a thumb screw here and there's one on the other side. I've already loosened them, and then you can slide that fan off and use this guy alone. All right, so there's your closer look. You can see the button there, huge reflector, and deep down inside of there is an SBT 90.2 LED. Now this is actually waterproof down to 1 meter, and it's drop rated for 1 meter. So we're on a concrete floor here in the shop. Let's go ahead and try this out. I'm just kidding, Joseph. I wouldn't do that to your light. So it's a single click to turn the light on, and then you click again to cycle through the modes. Click and hold to turn it off. You double click for instant access to turbo, triple click for your strobe mode. When the light is off, if you press and hold, that is your moonlight mode. I think it's 2.5 lumens, if I'm not mistaken. I'll roll up all the run times and everything right here on the screen, but such low lumen levels on that moonlight mode, that is awesome for such a huge LED. Now, if you click 4 times, it'll actually tell you the battery status. So you'll see that will blink to show you your battery status. And if you click 5 times, you enter lockout mode. So it blinks a few times, lets you know it's in lockout mode. And now the light won't turn on. Click again 5 times, and it's unlocked. Now this guy only has 7,500 lumens, which doesn't sound like a lot, especially when you compare it to something like the Olight X9R Marauder that has 25,000 lumens. But this has 2.5 million Candela. This only has 99,000. And if you're not familiar with what Candela is basically how it takes all that light, that lumen output, and focuses it and throws it downrange, all right? So if it has a really high Candela level, it means it's really, really tightening that beam pattern and throwing it downrange. All right, guys, here we go. On the right and up first is the Olight X9R. 25,000 lumens. But mostly spill. I'm just showing you this because it's probably the closest lumen. It's the highest output light that I currently have. Granted, I do have to send this back tomorrow. So I'm trying to get this footage done for you guys. So for frame of reference, if this is your first time watching the channel, the barn is 61 yards from where I'm standing. It is 14 feet tall at the peak, so it gives you an idea of the size of the spill and the throw and the hot spot on this thing. And way back in that dark spot, right there, let's see if I can zoom in on that. See that white spot back there? That is a steel target at 107 yards, all right? I'm actually gonna move that off to the side now, and let's bring in the Mateminco. Very, very defined flood on it. Look at the border of that flood, man. That huge reflector, absolute laser beam coming out of this thing. I really wish I had some place to show you just how much throw this thing has. Completely washes out the barn, flag disappears. Let's move that off to the side, bring the Olight back in. Apples to oranges in terms of what they do. One is obviously a thrower. Look at that. The Olight does a pretty good job of washing out that barn, but it's all flood for the most part. Mateminco, Olight. All right, I'm gonna turn the Mateminco back on and move it off to the side, and here is the Phoenix. Now the Phoenix is kind of a good blend. You can see it's got a lot of throw on it there. Not quite as much laser beam. What a cool shot. Look at the Mateminco on the left here and the Phoenix LR80R on the right. The Phoenix has a lot more throw than the Olight did and also has a ton of flood on it. It's only 18,000 lumens though. Bring the Mateminco back in, and there's the Phoenix. Phoenix does a fantastic job of washing out the barn also. And the Phoenix actually says it has, oh, there's the cat. What are you doing, dude? The Phoenix says it actually has 3,700 meters of throw, and the Mateminco I think is 3,100 meters. I'm gonna guarantee this throws further. Whew, these are getting heavy. All right. Once again, here's the Olight X9R. So for frame of reference, this clump of trees right here is 35 yards. That clump of 3 trees back there is 65 yards. And way back there, that really tall tree way back there is 170 yards, all right? So all this flood on the Olight, fantastic job of lighting all this up. And let's bring in the Mateminco. This is actually a pretty cool comparison. So depending on what you need, if you needed to see somebody in that tree at 170 yards, no problem. But notice, I have the camera set to pretty much what my eye sees. Look at this little willow tree right here. I think that's 40 yards or 45 yards. See that little tiny tree? The spill on this, hand's starting to shake, this damn thing's heavy. The spill on this is not really enough to light that. See it there? And if I move it off to the side, at 45 yards, I can barely see it with the naked eye, all right? Move that off to the side, and by contrast though, there's the Olight. Just absolutely daylights everything, including back to that 170 yards. So not quite as laser beam, Olight, Mateminco. All right, and on the right side now is the Phoenix. So look at that little willow tree right there, and even if I move it off to the side, the spill is adequate to still light that up, and I can see it. There's that tree back there at 170 yards. Oops, sorry, I hit the button. This thing does a really, really good job. It's a really good blend of throw and throw and a spot and flood. Really good blend. Move that off to the side, bring the Mateminco back in. All right, and it comes in a very nice bag that was actually built exactly for this. So in the front here is actually that carry handle with the fan in it. In the back here is a couple of different compartments that perfectly hold all of them. And there's a bag for the head. You can see it's all tucked back in there now. And of course it has a carry strap because no one in their right mind is gonna carry that by hand for long. And depending on where you shop, this thing's gonna range from $460 to about $560. I think the cheapest I found it is on AliExpress, which is kind of like, I guess, the Amazon for China. And I'll post a couple links in the description below to various places where you can find it. Again, at the time you're watching this video, that price may change, but currently it's like $469 and some places are well north of $500. So that's it, guys. The Mateminco, I hope I'm saying that right, MT90 Plus. Big thank you to Joseph for sending this out. What a freaking monster. Again, links are in the description below. If you did like this video, guys, do me a favor, hit a subscribe, give this video a like, make sure you do subscribe and turn your notifications on so you can be part of future giveaways. Unfortunately, this won't be one of them. Lots more videos to come. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.